upper income, those making more than $250,000 a year will be allowed to expire. Middle-class tax cuts and support for the middle class to make college affordable, retirement security possible, health insurance affordable. Those will be my priorities. And I think it's important that we look at where the money has gone under President Bush. No-bid contracts, cronyism, outsourcing the government in ways that haven't saved us money and have reduced accountability. So the larger question is who really is going to move us toward fiscal responsibility, and I believe that we can get back on the path we were on. It was working well. It was one of the reasons why the economy was booming. I've got that, clearly in my economic blueprint, which is something that I've published the last few days, because it's part of what we have to do again. And I think that I will be very comfortable and effective in taking on Senator McCain over the fiscal irresponsibility of the Republican Party that he's been a part of.
All right. An issue relating to the current election. Go ahead.
As we can see, this has been an extremely close nomination battle that will come down to superdelegates. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, the highest-ranking Democrat in government, said recently, and I'm quoting, "It would be a problem," and this is a question for you, Senator Clinton, "it would be a problem for the party if the verdict would be something different than the public has decided." Do you agree?
Well, these are the rules that are followed, and I think that it'll sort itself out. I'm not worried about that. We will have a nominee, and we will have a unified Democratic Party, and we will go on to victory in November.
Senator Obama, go ahead. Do you have a response to Senator Clinton?
Well, I think it is important, given how hard Senator Clinton and I have been working, that these primaries and caucuses count for something. And so my belief is that that the will of the voters expressed in this long election process is what ultimately will determine who our next nominee is going to be. But understand what I think is most important to the voters, and that is that we have a government that is listening to them again. They feel as if they've been shut out. When I meet mothers who are trying to figure out how to get health care for their kids, it's not just the desperation of that single mom. It's also that when they try to find some help, oftentimes they're hitting a brick wall. And they don't get a sense that the debates that are happening in Washington right now relate to them at all. What they believe is that people are trying to get on TV, and they're trying to score points, and they're trying to win elections, and that they're not interested in knocking down the barriers that stand between the American people and their dreams. And I have no doubt that the Democratic Party, at its best, can summon a sense of common purpose again, and higher purpose for the American people. And I think that the next nominee going into November election is going to have a lot to talk about, because the American people are tired of a politics that's dominated by the powerful, by the connected. They want their government back, and that's what I intend to provide them when I'm nominated for President of the United States.
We have time for just one final question, and we thought we'd sort of end on a more philosophical question. You've both spent a lot of time talking about leadership, about who's ready and who has the right judgment to lead if elected president. And a leader's judgment is most tested at times of crisis. And I'm wondering if both of you will describe what was the moment that tested you the most, that moment of crisis. Senator Obama?
Well, I wouldn't point to a single moment. And what I look at is the trajectory of my life, because I was raised by a single mom. My father left when I was 2, and I was raised by my mother and my grandparents. And there were rocky periods during my youth where I made mistakes and was off course. And what was most important in my life was learning to take responsibility for my own actions, learning to take responsibility for not only my own actions, but how I can bring people together to actually have an impact on the world. And so working as a community organizer on the streets of Chicago with ordinary people, bringing them together and organizing them to provide jobs and health care and economic security to people who didn't have it, then working as a civil rights attorney and rejecting the jobs on Wall Street to fight for those who were being discriminated against on the job. That cumulative experience, I think, is the judgment that I now bring. It's the reason that I have the capacity to bring people together, and it's the reason why I am determined to make sure that the American people get a government that is worthy of their decency and their generosity.
Senator Clinton.
Well, I think everybody here knows I've lived through some crises and some challenging moments in my life, and I am grateful for the support and the prayers of countless Americans. But people often ask me, how do you do it? You know, how do you keep going? And I just have to shake my head in wonderment, because with all of the challenges that I've had, they are nothing compared to what I see happening in the lives of Americans every single day. You know, a few months ago, I was honored to be asked, along with Senator McCain, as the only two elected officials, to speak at the opening of the Intrepid Center at Brooke Medical Center in San Antonio, a center designed to take care of and provide rehabilitation for our brave young men and women who have been injured in war. And I remember sitting up there and watching them come in. Those who could walk were walking. Those who had lost limbs were trying with great courage to get themselves in without the help of others. Some were in wheelchairs and some were on gurneys. And the speaker representing these wounded warriors had had most of his face disfigured by the results of fire from a roadside bomb. You know, the hits I've taken in life are nothing compared to what goes on every single day in the lives of people across our country. And I resolved at a very young age that I'd been blessed and that I was called by my faith and by my upbringing to do what I could to give others the same opportunities and blessings that I took for granted. That's what gets me up in the morning. That's what motivates me in this campaign. And you know, no matter what happens in this contest, and I am honored to be here with Barack Obama. I am absolutely honored. And, you know, whatever happens, we're going to be fine. You know, we have strong support from our families and our friends. I just hope that we'll be able to say the same thing about the American people. And that's what this election should be about.
Standing ovation here in Austin, Texas. Our thanks to Senator Barack Obama and Senators Hillary Clinton. Appreciate your time tonight. And to Don and Jorge as well. We also want to thank our debate partners, Univision, the University of Texas at Austin, and the Texas Democratic Party, and the LBJ Library, as well as the City of Austin. Stay with CNN on March 4th for complete coverage of the primary results, Texas, Ohio, Vermont, Rhode Island. I'm Campbell Brown in Austin. This debate will be broadcast in Spanish later tonight on the Univision television network. It'll air at 11:30 p.m. Eastern and 10:30 p.m. Central. Anderson Cooper now on the best political team in television with debate analysis. Anderson?